77 WABC invite you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts, including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
Judge Jeanine Pirro.
She's the outspoken host. Judge Jeanine Pirro is dominating the headlines right now.
Tunnel to Towers Foundation presents the Judge Jeanine Pirro Show. Now, here's Judge Jeanine Pirro.
The Judge Jeanine Pirro, Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday Morning Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Not quite, people. It's Joe Concha filling in for Judge Jeanine. For a while, I would imagine, since she has a slightly important job in Washington, D.C. as its district attorney hired by President Trump. I'm going to bring in right now Gerri Willis. Gerri and I share something in common in that we are the only two people that have not been hired by the Trump administration. And we're running Fox News now. So, Gerri, congratulations on us and our domination.
It's exciting, right?
It completely is. But in all seriousness, Gerri is a fine reporter for the Fox Business Network. You see her all over the place there, including Friday morning she was on Mornings with Maria, and then, of course, the Big Money Show. Whether she's co-hosting, whether she's reporting, she is a busy gal, like I am a busy guy over at Fox News and Fox Business as well. So they certainly make us earn our paychecks, but it's a labor of love. So, Gerri, first, I want to congratulate you on your New York Times bestselling book. I mean, this is awesome. Lincoln's Lady Spymaster. Just a thrilling, just a saga that I'd never heard of before. And that's what I love about this book, that it's about a Southern belle who basically becomes James Bond and is carrying out espionage for Abraham Lincoln and the Union, and she helped win the Civil War. And this wasn't like a poor gal who said, all right, I'll help out, do whatever I can. I mean, this was a wealthy Southern belle, had it all, the money, the charm, the wit, biggest mansion in Richmond, Virginia, and then she risked everything to become the most productive spy for the Union in the Civil War. What made you want to write about this? I mean, as I'm reading that, I could see why, but this isn't exactly like a timely topic in terms of, well, Trump just won the election, I'll write about that like I did for my New York Times bestseller. But this is a story I don't think many people probably have not learned about until reading your book.
Well, exactly. I had to do a lot of research to find her. She had pretty much been buried by history. It wasn't until 100 years after the Civil War that a former spook walking through the halls of the National Archives came across a room that he had security open for him. He walks in, and there are piles of papers to the ceiling, and he finds out that these are the actual documents, the records of the Union's spies. And throughout these pages, we find the name of Elizabeth Van Lew. She's not a woman who wanted to publish her own story, and so this is how we start getting an idea of just how important she was. I wrote this story as an inspiration to a lot of the young women here at Fox during the COVID lockdowns who were so distraught over that. And I thought to myself, oh, my goodness, American women have, they've done so much. They've suffered through so much. They've been able to, do great things despite handicaps. Let's go find a woman who made a big impact on American history and write about her as a way of inspiring these young women.
Incredible. And I certainly want to talk more about this book when we go through a couple of topics first that you've been covering for the Fox Business Network, but certainly want to give Lincoln's Lady Spymaster on sale now. Of course, New York Times bestseller. Get it wherever you get books. But let's talk about some big headlines from this week. And that includes it still is troubling to say this, the front runner to be the next mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. It seems like some more rich folks are now lining up to try to stop him, understanding that if he gets what he wants in terms of government-run supermarkets and free universal health care and free busing and controlling the manufacturing industry, government seizing it is the way that he put it, and obviously then taking over the condos and apartments of rich people to give them to the homeless. I mean, this is not even socialism right now. This is communism on Marxist steroids. And now finally some folks that have some skin in the game are lining up against him. Gerri.
Yeah, that's right. New York's financial crowd is rushing in, and they put together tens of millions of dollars already to back somebody's candidacy, but they haven't even declared on a candidate yet. And I know it sounds like December's a long way away, but it's not really. These people really need to get organized. When this thing first surfaced, when Mamdani first became like a real thing, a real candidate, I said, look, this guy is a socialist. You know, this is New York City, the capital of capital, right? This is where money forms. This is where the New York Stock Exchange is. You know, they really need to get together and start talking about what to do. Listen, I was looking at Mamdani's X, and there's a fascinating, like, very slick video on it. And in it, he talks about how he won. And here's a small fact. Cuomo, who he beat famously, paid, in terms of how much money he bankrolled, $87 per vote he got. Mamdani paid $19.
Wow.
So Mamdani is able to make his money go further. He's able to spend less. And why? He's a really attractive guy, well-spoken, and he's speaking a language that people, particularly in the outer boroughs here in New York City, want to hear. They want free stuff. They want to be able to buy a house. You know, Donald Trump has sounded some of these themes in terms of making the playing field even for everybody, right? Making it a fair place. And I got to tell you, his ideas are being twisted and turned by Mamdani into a sort of socialist offer for New York City voters, and they're eating it up.
That's an incredible stat, just $19 per voter. That shows his social media prowess, obviously on TikTok and on X, Facebook, you name it. He can produce these videos relatively cheaply, and he's very, as you said, charismatic, very good in terms of making the sale. Is the reason why so many young folks, particularly young, white, college-educated, mind you, folks, are buying into this is because maybe despite all that education, they weren't taught about, I don't know, how the Soviet Union collapsed and all the bread lines and all the things that he's proposing was basically the reason why the Soviet Union is no longer the Soviet Union at this point.
Well, I believe the missing education nut here is capitalism and how it works and how its benefits roll out to everyone. So that is something we never talk about in public education. They don't know anything about money formation, how capitalism works, how companies benefit their workers. They don't see that at all. They think it's a bad thing. They've been taught it's a bad thing. And I think that's why Mamdani can get currency, particularly here where, you know, the outer boroughs here, it's a ton of people from other countries, South Asia, Latinos, Chinese. Mamdani did really well with these groups. And I think that the conservatives are going to have to pay a lot of detailed attention to this because this storyline is going to roll out to other parts of the country as well.
Amazing. The roadmap for, I never thought I'd say this a couple of years ago, the roadmap for Democrats is to elect more young communists who came to the country 6 years ago. Amazing. And we're talking to Gerri Willis.
Right.
Let's move on. I guess just one more point around that. Unless Cuomo or Adams drops out, and Adams is a sitting mayor, so why would he do that? And Cuomo was a former governor and with a massive ego, so I don't see him going anywhere, at least for the time being. And obviously Curtis Sliwa, well, he's the Republican nominee, so why should he have to drop out? Unless this thing becomes more of a binary choice, Mamdani can very easily win with 33% of the vote in a city where 20% turnout for mayoral elections. It is a scary time, that's certainly for sure. Gerri Willis, want to move on to how stocks are doing these days, because I'm old enough to remember April of 2025, where every Democrat under the sun would run to CNN and MSNBC and CNBC and say, oh, my gosh, our 401ks are vanishing before our eyes. They're people who've been saving their whole lives. The money's gone. Well, since that time, the Dow Jones is up more than 5%. Had a hiccup on Friday, of course, a little bit of a sell-off. That was expected. But overall, I mean, if you're looking since the beginning of the year, since the election, the stock market is up more than 2,000 points. So if you invested or particularly bought on that dip, life is good. So I guess the tariff thing just doesn't scare people the way it used to.
Well, Liberation Day, don't forget, we lost about 10% on each of the major indexes, right? That was super scary for people. But now, for the most part, not always, when we get some kind of announcement about a new tariff from the White House, stock market doesn't care. It just keeps going up. And there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, inflation expectations by regular people, then this is according to a survey from the New York Federal Reserve, are dropping. It's falling. People are not expecting higher inflation. Secondly, it looks like we're going to get at least 2 rate cuts by the end of the year, and this is music to the ears of professional investors. That means capital is going to be cheaper. And finally, when you look at the One Big Beautiful Bill, there is an excellent piece of information in there for people who run companies, and that is this, that they can take full expensing on capital expenditures. I believe that you're going to start seeing these companies expand, build out, build more factories, hire more people. I think it's a huge thing that people have not paid attention to that will have a very big impact on the economy, a positive one.
Well, those 2 rate cuts certainly, as you said, music to people's ears. The question is, will Jerome Powell finally pull the trigger on this? I mean, I don't know quite what he's waiting for exactly, but his time will run out soon enough by the end of the year. And we're talking to Gerri Willis. Let's get back to the book, shall we? Because what we're seeing here, I look on Amazon, right? I did when my book was out a couple of months ago, and the reviews are just through the roof extraordinary. So, and I'm not talking about from professional book reviewers, but people who are verified purchasers of the book, so you know that they purchased it. And time and again, I just see the same theme over and over again. They love your writing style. They love the way you tell this story that, again, almost nobody has heard about before because of the reasons that you mentioned earlier as far as, this was a woman in terms of Elizabeth Van Loo, who didn't want her story told, which is amazing. So many people in the modern world say, hey, over here, I need some credit. She didn't want any credit. Why was that?
Well, she was afraid of repercussions. Remember, after the Civil War, Reconstruction was very difficult for much of the South. It was very violent. She was still getting threats from organizations, from individuals in Richmond, and she was well known by that point, right? I mean, her story is so inspirational for people because she knew what she was risking. And she did it anyway. She chose to do it. And it's because she couldn't just square herself with the idea of slavery continuing in Virginia. She was a huge lover of her home state, the Commonwealth. She thought slavery had ruined the state. And very importantly, she didn't want to see secession. She thought that was wrong. She thought Virginia had been the cradle of the presidency, an important role in America's history, and there was no way the state should secede from the Union. So she felt very, keenly about these issues and wanted to fight for the country and for ridding her state of slavery.
And we're talking to Gerri Willis, Fox Business Network. The book, Lincoln's Lady Spy Master, you can get it wherever you buy books. Amazon, doesn't matter. Barnes & Noble, prominently featured, by the way. I took my kids there to get books just a couple of days ago, and sure enough, there you were, nicely placed, like when you walk in, that center table. So that certainly helps in those situations. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, that's so exciting.
Clifton, New Jersey.
In every bookstore. You never know where it's going to be.
That's true.
And let me tell you, we've done well with sales. There have been 4 printings so far. So get in and get your book because, they're having a hard time keeping it on the shelf, frankly.
Wow. Let me read one review here. This comes from Carolyn Hale Cubbage, right? 5 stars, okay? The importance of one woman's undertold effort to end the Civil War. She says, through the creation of a network of spies from both the Union and rebel sides of the war, she feeds critical information to Union military leaders that leads to the capture of the Confederate headquarters in Richmond and the ultimate end of the war. Very big deal. The inclusion of a myriad of details makes for a great read, so not to miss any important detail of planning and execution of her work. So, 5 stars there for you. You just go down the line. Don't take it from me. Don't take it from Gerri. People who bought this book. This is your summer read now at this point.
I got to tell you something really honest about that, Joe. Do you know who that woman is?
No, I don't.
She's my high school English teacher.
No! Really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's great. Can I tell you?
Awesome?
I heard from my English 101 professor at Emerson College. So I went to Emerson first, and then I wasn't crazy about city life, so I transferred to Maryland, which is absolutely a suburban campus. But yeah, I heard from her, and she's like, "Congratulations on your book. I always knew that you'd be a great writer." And I remembered I got an A in that class. But when you hear from people, you're 39 years old. It's not too far from high school, but I mean, just to hear from your old everybody's 39 at Fox. Your old English high school teacher. That's great. Did she contact you directly, or you just happen to see the review?
She contacted me directly and talked to me about it. She also posted it on her Facebook page. I just felt so great about that. And I've had a lot of response from women in particular who really connect with Elizabeth's story. If you want to get something done, you might want to give it to a society lady. She was a Southern belle. She knew everybody in town, and she went on to do what she thought was right, despite the fact she was truly a minority. And the way she did it, the way she utilized her Southern belle lady charms to make it happen is fascinating.
What else is fascinating, Gerri Willis, and I'll have to end it here, unfortunately, but definitely give you 45 seconds. Definitely not enough time. We probably need about 45 days. But you are a breast cancer survivor, and I remember when you were going through the treatments and the fact that you've come out on the other side, it appears that you're cancer-free at this point. I hope I'm not assuming anything, but just to go through something like that, I'm sure it gives you a special appreciation for having a New York Times bestseller and the work that goes into it.
I can't tell you how gratifying it is that 9 years after coming out of breast cancer treatment, here I am with this book. And I was thinking about how women, everybody really, needs to think about why you're here and why you need to keep going, and how some of the best things in your life may be yet to come. I know a lot of people don't like to take those tests. They don't like the mammograms. They're worried about doing it. But at the end of the day, you might be stopping something really wonderful from happening to you if you don't get tested.
Yep, and it's so preventable, as you said. So everybody out there, especially women, get those mammograms. Get it checked. It doesn't take terribly long. And again, if you catch it stage 1 early, then this is something that can very easily be treated. If you wait too long, then that could be a different story. So Gerri, inspiring stuff, both the book and your own personal story. Thanks so much for joining us here on WABC.
Thank you, Joe. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. And we didn't insult each other once, which is remarkable. Usually we bust each other's chops, but this has been very civil, so we have to get back to that.
Was I supposed to do that? Do you have another 3 minutes?
We're going to go easy on me today, so thank you, and I'll see you in a green room soon.
You're welcome.
The great Gerri Willis, everyone. And this is the Judge Jeanine Tunnel for Towers Foundation show. Back with more in just a moment.
The Judge Jeanine Pirro Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.